Bulldogs sure are number one. What the hell?
The older sister who was sleeping in the living room heard a strange noise. She immediately went to investigate, but all she saw was a shattered mirror. Her younger sister's voice came from the bathroom. The older sister tried to open the door, but it was locked from the inside. The younger sister was trembling with fear. Faced with the threat from her reflection in the mirror, she could only pretend to stay calm and lie that she was fine. The older sister stopped asking questions and turned away, and the eerie events of this day were only the beginning of this family's endless nightmare. Jack and Lisa were a loving married couple. They had just received two pieces of good news. Life was filled with hope. Lisa had just become pregnant. Jack, a mathematics teacher, had just received a tenure appointment from a top university. The university had also given them a luxurious villa as a benefit. As soon as they arrived, David, a student working on campus, voluntarily came forward to help carry their luggage. He also reminded them that a gift had been delivered in advance and placed on the living room table. When they opened it, they found an exquisite antique wooden box sent by Lisa's sister. Jack struggled with it for a long time, but he could not open the box. The sister's letter only briefly explained that the box was called a fertility box. It did not mention what was inside. The couple did not think much of the box. They were full of anticipation for their beautiful new life. The next day Jack left for work. Lisa stayed home alone. Driven by curiosity, she picked up the wooden box again. To her surprise, this time the box opened effortlessly, but it was completely empty. Lisa assumed it was just her sister's prank. She casually placed the box on the closet shelf, and from that moment the house's terrifying cycle officially began. Afterward, Lisa assembled the crib by herself. Whenever she had free time, she went jogging in the nearby forest. During one run, she saw a woman crouching on the ground and crying. Lisa approached and asked if she was okay. She discovered that the woman was covered in dirt. Blood was also running down her lower body. She kept repeating that her child was gone. Lisa offered to take her to the hospital, but the woman's eyes remained fixed on Lisa's swollen belly.
You're not well either. I'm sorry? You're afraid of me? Soon everyone will be afraid of you.
I don't mean to bother you. I don't want any trouble.
I don't care for it.
He hurried back home. She called Jack. Neither of them paid much attention to it. They simply assumed they had encountered a deranged homeless woman. As evening fell, an inexplicable sense of unease enveloped Lisa. She accidentally noticed that the painting hanging on the wall seemed strangely unsettling. When she leaned closer to examine it, a book suddenly slid off the bookshelf beside her. At the moment she bent down to pick it up, a figure appeared outside the window out of nowhere. When she looked up, the figure had already vanished. Immediately afterward, urgent knocking suddenly echoed through the house. Lisa thought her husband had returned from work, but when she opened the door, no one was there. After she closed the door, things became even stranger. The distinct sound of a baby crying came from upstairs. Lisa followed the sound upstairs. She discovered that the crying was coming from the crib she had assembled that very day. The music box hanging in midair was also spinning by itself. His wife to the hospital. Lisa survived, but she miscarried the baby, and she would never be able to have children again. Jack suppressed his grief and comforted his wife. He believed that assembling the crib had exhausted her too much, and that the strain had caused the accident. But Lisa was absolutely certain. She said she had seen their unborn daughter. She had even held the child in her arms. After that, she lost consciousness. Lisa's sister Mary also came to take care of her. Not long after Lisa was discharged from the hospital, Mary moved into the house as well. They thought the ordeal was finally over. Little did they know that the true nightmare had only just begun. The first thing Jack did after getting home was clean the bloodstains left in the nursery. As he came over to look, the room was completely empty. Lisa insisted that she had not been mistaken, and the little girl's appearance was exactly the same as the doll beside the crib. Naturally, Jack believed Lisa was hallucinating. He even blamed his wife. Why had she secretly assembled the crib without telling him? He still believed that overexertion had caused the miscarriage, and that the trauma had triggered a series of hallucinations. The next day they went to the hospital for an examination. The doctor also stated that Lisa's body was physically normal. The hallucinations were likely caused by excessive grief. The doctor prescribed some medication to help her relax. After returning home, Lisa took the medication obediently. The hallucinations seemed to disappear. Jack packed up the crib, along with all the baby toys, and removed them from the house. He wanted to prevent his wife from being reminded of their loss. He thought that would finally end everything, but everything that had happened before had merely been an appetizer for the evil spirit. Late that night, both of them were asleep. The blanket covering them was quietly pulled away by someone. In a daze, Lisa heard a whisper. What had just happened? Jack walked out of the bedroom. He noticed that the nursery light had mysteriously turned on. Gathering his courage, he entered the room. The room was still empty, but through the window, he caught Mary having an affair with his student David. In that instant,
What, you think you saw me fucking your student?
Jack finally believed that what Lisa had seen earlier was not a hallucination. At Jack's university, there happened to be an elderly professor who studied spiritualism. They arranged for him to visit the house the next day, but before the professor arrived, another strange incident occurred. While looking into a mirror, Mary was threatened by her own reflection. Under the evil spirit's command, she did not dare reveal what had happened. After leaving behind a farewell letter, she fled the house overnight. The next day, the professor arrived on time. He carefully inspected the entire house. Eventually, his attention settled on the fertility box. The professor said that the source of the strange events was not the house. It was the box. He explained that a fertility box was a vessel used to imprison an evil spirit. Only a pregnant woman could open it. Lisa had unknowingly opened the box. She had released the evil spirit and threw him out of the house on the spot. He also threw the fertility box away. But what happened that night completely shattered Jack's understanding of reality. While showering in the bathroom, someone suddenly embraced him from behind. He thought it was his wife, but when he opened his eyes he saw the face of a strange woman. His body instantly became rigid and unable to move. In the blink of an eye the woman transformed into a white-haired old lady. Jack scrambled out of the bathroom in terror. He hid in the bedroom for a long time. Only then did he dare to take a weapon and return to investigate. But the bathroom was empty again. The next day Jack contacted the professor himself. He invited him back to the house. This time the professor brought equipment capable of communicating with evil spirits. Before they began, the professor explained the origin of the fertility box. It turned out that only a pregnant woman could open it, and the box itself was a prison designed to contain an evil spirit. Now that the spirit had been released, they simply needed to trap it inside again. Finally he handed them a file. The woman in the picture was the same woman she had encountered in the forest, but the woman had died many years earlier. What Lisa had encountered might have been the woman's spirit. No one hesitated any longer. They quickly set up the recording equipment. They put on headphones and prepared to communicate with the evil spirit. Soon a voice came through the device. The professor immediately increased the volume. He attempted to speak with the spirit. At that moment, all the lights in the house suddenly went out. Lisa trembled with fear. Already disappeared. The professor suddenly began acting strangely. His entire body shook violently. Then a burst of white light suddenly flashed. When he regained consciousness, he saw the woman. Before him stood 4 different versions of her from different stages of life, and directly opposite them was Lisa. After fully recovering his senses, the professor solemnly told them that he had seen the true face of the evil being. It had already merged with Lisa. As time passed, the spirit's power would continue to grow stronger. Eventually it would completely take over Lisa's body. Lisa suddenly remembered that the couple from years ago must have discovered a way to seal the spirit. They immediately went to the prison. There they met the husband who had killed his wife, but his answer made their blood run cold. He said that the only way to destroy the evil spirit was to kill the person it had attached itself to. That person was Lisa. Otherwise, once the spirit completely possessed her body, the first person she would kill would be her husband. On the drive back, Lisa was filled with despair. Jack, however, believed that he could still find a solution. Jack woke up. It was already late at night. Lisa was gone from the passenger seat. He immediately rushed back home. By chance he discovered that the mural in the living room had become horrifyingly distorted. Every person in the painting had blood streaming from their eyes. All of them were staring directly at him. He quickly forced himself to calm down. He decided to find his wife first and make a plan afterward. At that moment he suddenly saw his sister-in-law. He knew that she had been the one who started everything, but finding Lisa was the most important thing. As he took a step forward, trying to lure him somewhere, he returned to the nursery. He saw his wife downstairs struggling with a security guard. This was another trick of the evil spirit. Jack immediately rushed downstairs. Sure enough, both of them had disappeared, but when he accidentally looked upward, he discovered that the security guard's cold corpse was suddenly lying inside the trunk of the car. At that moment his wife appeared behind him. Then she turned and walked away again. Jack hurried after her. He kept reassuring her that they would find a solution, but he did not realize that the evil spirit had already completely possessed her body. At the critical moment, Jack grabbed an iron rod nearby and drove it violently into the old woman's abdomen. Just then the tape recorder on the table suddenly began to play. When he turned around, the old woman had transformed back into his wife. Everything that had just happened had been another hallucination. At that moment Lisa had regained consciousness, and the evil spirit was steadily approaching them. Lisa desperately begged her husband. Only by killing her could he destroy the spirit and end everything. As the evil spirit drew closer and closer, Jack had no choice. Several months later, Jack was sentenced to life imprisonment for intentional homicide. The scene shifted once more. In an apartment in another city, Lisa's sister returned home from work. She noticed an exquisite gift sitting on the living room table. She opened the gift box, and inside was the same housewarming gift she had once given her sister and brother-in-law, the seemingly ordinary fertility box.